headlines of this hour on VTV News. E-commerce continuous growth, a bright spot in Vietnam's economy. And Ho Chi Minh City makes efforts to reduce plastic waste. And in our world news, North Korea notifies Japan of satellite launch.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is 3 p.m. local time and you're watching VTV News. I'm Hoan Trân with the top stories. Now, continuing the 6th session, the National Assembly discussed reports on crime prevention, legal violations, judgment enforcement, and anti-corruption work of the Supreme People's Court and the Supreme People's Procuracy in 2023. The deputies praised the results that surpassed the targets set by the National Assembly. Despite the complex nature of crimes and criminal cases, effective measures to prevent crimes and law violations have been implemented. The deputies proposed solutions to address specific groups of criminals, such as those who impersonate authorities, credit institutions, and civil servants to extort money from people. They also emphasized the need for close monitoring of criminal groups involved in drug smuggling, rental debt collection, and cyber crimes. Additionally, the deputies suggested promoting social prevention measures, limiting the conditions for committing crimes, and establishing comprehensive regulations for juvenile offenders. The Prime Minister has issued a directive to enhance the management of auctions for the rights to exploit mineral resources used in construction. There were concerns regarding abnormal factors in the auction process, particularly due to significant higher winning bids for the rights to exploit 3 sand mines in Hanoi compared to the starting prices.
The overnight auction of 3 sand mines in Hanoi generated nearly $74 million, which was hundreds of times more than the starting price. The Hanoi Natural Resources and Environment Department has submitted a transparent report to the city for approval, affirming that the entire auction process was conducted openly.
Each investor has their own set of challenges. As organizers, we don't find anything unusual in this situation. The precise determination of the losses has to be made after closing the mine. Businesses need to address their own problems.
The Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment is establishing an inspection team in collaboration with other authorities to evaluate the auction process for mineral exploitation rights. The team will specifically focus on the areas where ownership of the 3 newly discovered mineral mines was auctioned.
The financial commitment for the mineral exploitation rights obtained in the auction is significantly higher than the market price of construction sand, making the implementation of the project difficult. The Vietnam Minerals Department has requested a report and information from the Hanoi Department of Natural Resources and Environment for a thorough evaluation of the auction process.
A representative from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment stated that they will take strict measures against any violations by the auctioning organizations. They will also ensure compliance with regulations by controlling the permissible quantity of extraction.
E-commerce and the digital economy remain a bright spot in Vietnam's socio-economic development. This was the conclusion drawn at the National Forum for E-commerce and Digital Economy held in Hanoi on Tuesday. The country's e-commerce sector continues to grow at a rate of 20% from last year, with an expected revenue of $20.5 billion this year. Vietnam has maintained its position as the country with the fastest digital economic growth in Southeast Asia for 2 consecutive years, and this trend is forecast to continue until 2025. The theme of this year's forum was Green and Sustainable Digital Transformation of Industry and Trade, and it brought together domestic and foreign experts to discuss and propose solutions for businesses to digitally transform and adopt e-commerce practices. This includes implementing the e-government development solutions of the Ministry of Industry and Trade, which aim to drive the digital economic development of the industry and trade sector in a focused, effective, and sustainable manner. The Vietnam Textile and Apparel Association recognizes the persistent challenges in the industry, including an anticipated 9 to 10% decrease in export turnover, amounting to approximately $40 billion compared to the previous year. Businesses are actively pursuing new orders and enhancing product quality, particularly in Thừa Thiên Huế province.
At Huế Textile and Garment Company, all employees are working diligently to meet export deadlines for the United States. Clear targets have been established for each production line, which helps motivate workers to fulfill daily orders promptly.
Garment workers must be meticulous in each step, and quality inspectors need to be very careful to ensure that the products meet the required standards.
Textile enterprises in Thừa Thiên Huế province have invested in modern machinery to meet the high-quality demands of importing countries. Since the beginning of the year, they have been actively seeking large orders, which not only provide year-round employment for workers, but also ensure sustainable revenue for the businesses.
To adapt to current challenges, we are handling smaller orders, meeting higher customer demands, and shortening delivery times. Additionally, we are introducing new products such as compact and recycled fibers to stay updated in the market.
In addition to major markets like the EU and Japan, we are also expanding into niche markets such as South America and Middle East.
Thừa Thiên Huế province currently has 23 textile and garment enterprises. The estimated export of these products in 2023 is over $615 million, which is a 10.4% decrease compared to last year.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, fruit and vegetable exports from the beginning of the year until now have exceeded $4.9 billion in turnover, showcasing a 78% increase compared to the same period last year. China, the US, the Republic of Korea, Japan, and the Netherlands are the largest importers of Vietnam's fruits and vegetables. Notably, exports to China alone reach almost $2.8 billion. It is projected that Vietnam's fruit and vegetable exports may reach $5.8 to $6 billion this year. Tuna currently holds the third position in Vietnam's aquatic export value, following trifish and shrimp. In the past 10 months, tuna exports generated $693 million, which is a decrease of nearly 25% compared to the same period last year. The major importers of Vietnamese tuna include the United States, Israel, Thailand, Japan, Canada, and Germany. Notably, exports to markets such as Israel, Thailand, and Germany have experienced strong growth. Poland, as the seventh largest EU market for tuna from Vietnam, has witnessed continuous growth in tuna imports over the past 5 years, and this represents a significant opportunity for Vietnamese tuna in this market. Vietnam's squid-led farming industry has reached a significant milestone by officially exporting birds' nests to China. This achievement is the result of an agreement between Vietnamese and Chinese authorities. Birds' nests hold high value in China, and this formal export to a market of 1.4 billion people is anticipated to create significant opportunities for Vietnam's birds' nest industry.
Vietnam's first refined bird's nest products are now available in the Chinese market. The General Administration of Customs in China has granted export codes for refined bird's nest drinks from Vietnam. Chinese partners spent nearly a year conducting research in Vietnam to identify suitable companies for producing birds' nest products that meet their requirements.
After obtaining the materials, we use a minimal 70-degree bacterial elimination process on the birds' nests. We have to ensure that they meet export standards and nitrite levels.
With the high demand for birds' nests in China, we are planning to import these products from Vietnam. We are open to collaboration as long as the products meet the required standards.
Vietnam has produced 150 tons of birds' nests, valued at over $600 million to date. China, the world's largest consumer, requires 300 tons annually, holding an 80% share of the global market. To enhance exports, the focus is on expanding processing capabilities and diversifying products.
There could be hundreds of products in one industry. For example, in swiftlet farming, we can produce birds' nest beverages or birds' nest soups with lotus seeds and Cordyceps militaris. This diversification caters to different market segments and consumers.
Vietnam is getting closer to its goal of exporting swiftlet products worth $54 billion.
The year-end period will see banks speed up the loan disbursement process, especially as the Lunar New Year is drawing near. Therefore, all signs are pointing towards a double-digit growth for the economy's credit sector, rising from 7.4% figure as of the end of October.
In 10 months, this bank has recorded a credit growth rate of 16%, which is twice the average growth rate of the entire sector. The bank's leaders said that they are aiming to max out the lending rate of up to 25%.
We have reason to believe that credit growth will continue to increase in the future, especially as international orders return and exports pick up in pace gradually. Also, with the current government policy of promoting economic growth, and the interest rate is currently acceptable for businesses to meet operations, as credit will increase further.
Credit growth saw some improvement in September, reaching a rate of 6.9%. The figure rose to 7.4% in October. With this momentum, many experts believe that Vietnam can achieve the economic growth of about 5% this year, especially after many years of achieving a high credit growth rate of up to 15% per year.
If the aim is to reach 5% economic growth, then having a credit growth rate of about 9.8 to 10.2% is already good enough. It is also possible to achieve a 10.8% credit growth rate, especially as Lunar New Year approaches. In addition, it is usually more difficult to borrow at the beginning of the new year.
According to leaders of the State Bank of Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh City, there are two factors that can help remove credit bottlenecks, which are policy mechanisms and economic environment, of which there have been policies on lowering operating interest rates, delaying debt, and not changing debt groups. Interest rates have returned to pre-pandemic levels and are forecast to stay low until the first quarter of next year.
The demand for capital and banking services usually skyrockets at the end of the year. Therefore, the banking industry will always focus on meeting the credit demand of businesses, especially stable businesses, and ensuring low capital costs for these businesses. At the same time, the banking sector will need to ensure monetary security and ensure smooth payments, strengthen dialogue with businesses and meet their capital needs.
In the short term, the Ho Chi Minh City's banking sector is looking to spend $372.2 million to lend at low interest rates from 4 to 6% to meet businesses' capital needs for the upcoming Lunar New Year.
Now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate of today, November 21st. Coming up next, Ho Chi Minh City makes efforts to reduce plastic waste. And Vietnam unlocks tourism potential through Creative City title. Welcome back to VTV News. The Ministry of Health has recently issued a circular that regulates the prices of medical examination and treatment services covered by health insurance. Under the new regulation, the price for medical examinations has increased by approximately 10% compared to the previous rates. This adjustment is aimed at generating more revenue from insurance payments to hospitals in order to improve the quality of services provided. Specifically, the new prices will be applicable to medical examination and consultation services, daily hospital bed services, technical services, and health tests. The circular also states that if a patient requires additional specialized examinations after already undergoing one, only 30% of the original examination price will be charged for the subsequent examinations. If a patient undergoes a re-examination on the same day due to abnormal symptoms, it will be considered as a second or subsequent examination. Furthermore, if a doctor examines more than 66 patients in a day, the Social Insurance Agency will only reimburse 50% of the medical examination price for the 66 patient and onwards. In recent years, the rapid pace of urbanization and economic development in Ho Chi Minh City has led to an increase in plastic waste. Rather than struggling to find a solution to environmental pollution, the model of classifying and treating plastic waste at its source, along with the development of recycling technology, is considered an effective solution to improve the appearance of urban areas.
Sorting plastic bottles or food waste bags like this is a habit that Phie have been practicing for many years. This positive change gradually took shape when local officials and unions visited every household to mobilize people to classify waste at the source.
Every day after returning from the market, I will put my daily waste in a separate bin. Waste, such as bottles and nylon bags, will be put in another bin.
I regularly encourage people to make separating waste at the source a habit. Over time, their habits have changed positively.
According to a report by the International Finance Cooperation and the World Bank, it is estimated that Vietnam loses nearly $3 billion annually due to its inability to recycle all plastic waste generated from daily life. In Ho Chi Minh City alone, approximately $50 to $62 billion is spent every year on waste collection and treatment, accounting for 3.5% of the city's budget expenditure.
In addition to informing people, we also assigned people in each neighborhood to directly remind people to classify waste at the source.
All solutions to reduce the consumption of raw materials, extend the product life cycle, reduce waste, and reduce environmental pollution are part of the circular economy. Sorting at the source definitely meets the requirements of the circular economy.
Plastic waste is considered worthless if it ends up being buried or burnt. However, if processed with technology, plastic waste can be transformed into a valuable resource, ultimately generating income. It is widely believed that recycling promotes a circular economy while minimizing the environmental pollution caused by plastic waste.
Tens of thousands of square meters of land have been donated by residents in Bắc Giang province in just 1 year to expand rural roads. This is a movement created 1 year ago by local authorities in order to open roads for better trade and traffic. Some households have even donated their residential land, which is worth tens of thousands of US dollars to the campaign, contributing to improving the landscape of the countryside.
People are smashing their own houses, gateposts and walls in Hat Village, Thượng Lan Commune. After just a few months, the road, which previously has a width of 3 meters, has been widened to 6 meters. Some households even donated up to 50 to 60 square meters of residential land, worth up to $20,000.
People understood that the value of their land can come up to hundreds of dollars, but they are still willing to donate. They even encourage others to do the same and anticipated their turn to donate.
This road has recently doubled in width, but to do that, this man had to smash 60 meters of his own fence as well as other auxiliary structures so that the road can be widened by 2 meters.
Of course, losing money is a big deal, especially in the countryside, but having the government build us a bigger road is a great payoff. When walking around, I feel very comfortable and happy as I have played a part in bettering people's and society's quality of life.
In early 2022, local authorities of Viet Yên district approved the project to upgrade the village and roads and alleys. The government also committed to subsidize the cost of cement and support $14,400 per kilometer of the village road.
The district support budget is an incentive to promote people's resolution to donate their lands for road expansion. Because, though some want to expand the road, not everyone shares the same thought. Providing people with financial support will create a high consensus, leading to easier implementation.
In just 1 year, 156 kilometers of rural roads in Viet Yên district have been upgraded and expanded. People donated more than 11,000 square meters of land. The government has successfully included the people in this project, making this truly the people's decision.
Over the past 4 days, more than 70,000 visitors have come to experience the creative design space in Hanoi. One of the main event locations, Gia Lâm Train Factory, welcomed 60,000 visitors. The heritage journey from Long Biên Station to Gia Lâm Train Factory has sold 7,000 tickets to serve tourists. Additionally, Hang Đậu Water Tower received over 3,000 visits. The Hanoi Creative Design Festival 2023 will continue for another 5 days until November 26. The weather forecast for the next 5 days is also very favorable, with no rain and plenty of sunshine. This provides a great opportunity for both locals and visitors to participate in outdoor tourism activities. In late October, Vietnam welcomed the official inclusion of 2 cities into UNESCO's Global Creative Cities Network. Đà Lạt has been recognized as a creative city in the field of music, while Hội An has been designated as a creative city in the field of traditional crafts and folk arts. This prestigious title presents a significant opportunity for Hội An to enhance its cultural tourism sector.
Artisan Linh Ngọc Thuận transforms rotten wooden bars, swept away by floodwaters from upstream to downstream, into unique sculptures. These sculptures serve as a way to share the cultural stories of Hội An with visitors. The traditional handicraft industry in Hội An is constantly evolving and being revitalized by young artisans.
When artisans create products and the products are well received by visitors, they become happier. It is also a motivation for them to pass down the profession to their children.
Craft villages have contributed to the development and preservation of various unique forms of folk art. As part of this rich cultural ecosystem, certain folk songs are featured in tours and performed every night in the Old Town area to cater to tourists.
I found this show very beautiful, with very interesting dances and music, traditional music. I loved the sketch with the dragon.
In order to meet UNESCO criteria, Hội An's creative products must demonstrate their ability to thrive and evolve in a sustainable and long-lasting manner.
Being recognized as a creative city is very meaningful for Hội An. Firstly, it affirms the cultural and artistic values of Hội An in Vietnam. Secondly, it gives Hội An a chance to learn from the most advanced cities in the world about preserving and promoting heritage.
In order to fulfill its commitment to UNESCO, Hội An City will implement an action plan to develop its cultural value and collaborate with the province policies to promote creative cultural fields.
Coming up next in our world news. North Korea notifies Japan of satellite launch. An initiative aims to address abandoned houses in Japan. Moving on to other news, North Korea notified Japan on Monday of its plans to launch a satellite. In response to this announcement, South Korea and Japan immediately prepared countermeasures. The Japan Coast Guard reported on Tuesday that North Korea had given notice of the launch, which is planned to take place between Wednesday and December 1st, in the direction of the Yellow Sea and the East China Sea. South Korea's State Maritime Safety Agency issued a warning to vessels in the same areas as previous launches. Japan, along with the United States, South Korea, and other countries will work together to strongly urge North Korea not to proceed with the launch. This will be North Korea's third launch, following 2 failed attempts earlier this year. Palestinian officials have reported that a field hospital sent by Jordan entered the Gaza Strip on Monday, marking the first such hospital to arrive since the conflict between Israel and Hamas began. The Jordanian field hospital, accompanied by 170 personnel and 40 trucks of medical aid, has reached Gaza. It will be established in Khan Yunis to provide care for the wounded and the sick. It is important to note that all goods and individuals entering Gaza through the Rafah crossing with Egypt must receive Israeli approval. The head of medical aid in Gaza stated that the field hospital will help alleviate the strain on existing health services. According to the Gaza Health Ministry, there are currently approximately 30,000 wounded individuals throughout Gaza. Abandoned houses have become a challenging issue for Japanese authorities in recent times. In the face of population decline and a shift in population trends toward urban areas, these houses not only pose security concerns, but also detract from the beauty of the countryside. To address this problem, a startup group has proposed a solution that leverages the potential of abandoned houses. More in the following story.
Since 2020, Nishioka and her family have relocated from Nagoya City to Minami's town. In contrast to the trend of young Japanese people migrating from rural areas to urban centers in search of opportunities, Nishioka and her group have chosen to settle in the town and undertake projects aimed at revitalizing abandoned houses in this coastal area.
Currently, we have transformed the abandoned houses in this town into communal living spaces, including kitchens and living rooms, for everyone. In the future, our plan is to repurpose these houses into crafting spaces. While individuals may lack tools or space at home, we can provide them here so they can pursue their interests.
This house has been converted and now features a coffee shop and a small kitchen facing the sea. Residents have the freedom to use these facilities. Over 40 local businesses are currently registered to showcase their daily products in this house, attracting both town residents and tourists to visit and have a unique experience.
The project to convert and use houses into common spaces for everyone is garnering a lot of attention. This is an extremely valuable initiative. Numerous stores in the town have joined us, and I am sincerely grateful for their cooperation and support.
The project to renovate abandoned houses will continue to expand. This initiative has received support from both individuals and local authorities. It's helping to comprehensively address housing problems and also create a trend of cultural community for the people in this area.
Now, before we say goodbye, let's take a look at the weather forecast. That is it for our news bulletin. To rewatch our program, you can download our mobile app VTVgo or check out our YouTube channel VTV4Go. Thank you for watching.